by the time you hear this, he'll already be in surgery because we have to be there at fucking 5 a.m.
No.
When your husband is getting surgery, you should get to choose what time the surgery is. I'm just going to say.
I feel like sometimes you do.
Well, we did not get to choose, but also listen, this is like a workman's comp situation. Busy. He had to shave his own stomach this morning. That was part of his pre-surgical instructions.
I'm sorry. It's not acceptable.
He had to shave his own stomach.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Yay, now I'm recording. Hi.
Hi.
Caissie, I'm so excited. We have a guest.
We have a guest today.
I'm here.
It's Sarah Hoover.
Sarah
Simla.
Hoover.
Thanks for having me.
Author.
Oh my gosh, thanks for being here. Sarah is the author of the great book, The Motherload.
Yes, and I did a book talk for Sarah a few weeks ago when her book first came out. Now she's been on a whirlwind tour.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Are you tired?
Yeah, I was way less tired when we did our talk.
No, our talk was the first thing out the gate.
Exactly. I was amped. Actually, I was really nervous, and you were so nice because you made me way less nervous.
Well, I told you there's nothing to be nervous about because everybody that was there was like excited to see you.
Totally.
But sometimes we forget that. We forget that like people are showing up for us.
Yeah,
we
we
can
get the
be
people
so
that came to
generous and nice.
Yeah.
But you also brought wine.
Well, always.
You were ready for success.
Here's what I'll say. I've been to a number of book events with Busy now and some other events, and I feel like she's always whipping out a bottle of wine.
Well, because you know why?
Because
they
they
don't
are
have-
pro.
Well, because they don't have it.
I
Yeah.
know.
They never have it.
Which
and
is
then you're
so
like,
short-sighted.
it is because it's also like generally speaking, you're supposed to be there at like 5:30.
Which
You're
is
like,
wine time.
I would like a glass of wine, please, before I have this talk about postpartum anxiety, depression, and,
Well, you had told me
spiraling.
I think it was you. Someone had texted me and said, get those like beta blocker things. So my dad was in town for my book talk and he was like, I'll bring you one. He's prescribed them,
Sure.
And then he forgot. So when you walked in with wine, I was like, well, she saves the day once again.
It's nature's beta blocker.
Precisely.
Alpha blocker. One time I was in an elevator at an event where I had written a speech for like a celebrity to deliver a speech. It was, I don't know, probably like a charity thing. I don't even remember the specifics.
Wait, are you a speechwriter?
I'm a
Caissie's
comedy
a writer.
and a
Got it.
television
Okay.
producer.
I was like, dang, that's a
I'm just
niche.
here. Busy just lets me come on for
You
no
do,
reason.
But she does. But you do write speeches for people.
Yeah,
occasionally.
sometimes if
or
someone
like
asks
if
me to.
or if I'm asked to host an event like for a charity or something, I often say, and I would really love it if you could hire my producing partner, Caissie St. Ange, to just write it all so that it sounds like it's me and not like some random person that works at the
Which
place.
is so nice. I think the truth is not many people could make a living as a speechwriter nowadays, especially now that I'm sure people are delivering entire speeches courtesy of ChatGPT or whatever. But
Oh my
anyway,
God,
this is all
totally.
to say that there was like a big celebrity who was like the host of something, someone who I really think of as just like having their shit all the way together and not having a
Like
nervous bone in their
unfazed.
body.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And that person took a beta blocker in the elevator, just took it, and then offered them around to everyone in the elevator.
Yes. Yes.
Like candy, like offering mints on an airplane.
Yeah. And that was my first, I had heard about them because I obviously have tons of friends who, not obviously, but I have tons of friends who are comedians. And I know that some comedians said that it really has been a life changer for them because I guess a fair number of comedians struggle with stage fright, which is wild to think of. But yeah, so
That feels like
anyway.
a prerequisite for the job of being comedian should be like not having stage fright, I would imagine. It's funny that that's not the
I don't
case.
know. You'd be surprised. I mean, I wrote for Joan Rivers for years and I don't think she had stage fright, but she definitely had times when she said that she was very nervous. She would
Whoa.
be nervous if I would come see her do stuff that I had written. If I came to see her perform, she would ask to not know that I was there until after because it would make her too nervous.
You're telling me that you made Joan Rivers nervous? That needs to be like on your bio.
I don't think it was anything special. I know other people made her sometimes nervous, and I think it was like she just had such a respect for like joke writers that I think she would be nervous like trying out material that you wrote because she would want to do right by it, which is why I think she was so great.
Do you guys like stand-up? Do you like seeing stand-up? I just had this conversation last night with someone. I do not.
Okay, but you
don't
like
like
live
it?
Music.
I love seeing live music. I very
Two different types of people in this world.
rarely like seeing stand-up unless it's like Paul F. Tompkins, who's my favorite.
Superior.
Unless it's Superior. Unless it's somebody that I know. Like I saw Jerry Seinfeld on tour a couple years ago, and it was like, well, pre-pandemic. So like whatever, guys, 10 years ago, sure.
Who knows at this point?
But it was like the fucking funniest thing I'd ever seen. Masterful. But like, and I love Paul F. Tompkins, our friend. But there's like more, I would just say by and large, stand-up makes me so uncomfortable.
There's a lot of really bad stand-up.
And there's so much bad stand-up. And there's so much just misogynistic, like bullshit stand-up that it's hard for me to like get into it because then I'm like just waiting for something horrible to happen.
It is like live music in the way that the performer could be having an off night, or they could be like working out something that they haven't done yet, or they haven't done in a long time. If you're going to see like a legacy act in music, and it's like music in that sometimes there's a number of performers on the bill and you just get stuck there in the crowd watching someone that you wouldn't have come out to see probably, but they're just in the lineup, and you know, you want to like chew your own leg off to get out of there.
I really hate, I'm going to say the wrong word because I don't know enough about it, but I really hate the thing where they like pick on people in the audience.
It's called crowd work.
Well, crowd work.
Crowd work. Okay. That's not my jam. That's not for me. I think it's like a little too mean, and it's never funny enough to be worth the meanness.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I don't like any meanness.
Like you see a lot of it online now because I think a lot of comedians have kind of gotten like TikTok famous for their crowd work or whatever.
That's right.
But what you don't realize when you're watching it on TikTok is that they're heavily curating the crowd work that they're choosing to display. So it's either like when they made a really good point or they destroyed a heckler or whatever. But in real life, the sad part is that like a lot of times it just doesn't really go anywhere. you know, and you're just like, why am I watching this? And why is this like person in the crowd like part of the show? It's just, you know.
Do you watch Hacks?
I did watch Hacks. That we've talked about Hacks a lot. Busy knows that like I was nervous to watch Hacks at first because clearly it was about Joan Rivers to me.
Yeah.
And I was worried that they wouldn't do right by her. And like a lot of people are like, well, it's like it really closely resembles your relationship actually with Joan Rivers, not because of like, I don't think it's about us or whatever, but I just think for whatever reason, like that's my relationship with Joan is kind of similar to the premise of Hacks.
Wait, goosebumps. That's so cool.
And there were a couple things that I was like, oh, wow, like that exactly did happen. But that's, you know, what great creative minds do. I was very nervous to watch it at first because I just wanted them to do right by Joan. But then once I watched it, I was like, I think it is so respectful, like whatever is like an homage to Joan. I also think it's a mix. I think it's a mix of like an homage to Joan Rivers and Martha Stewart, even though Martha Stewart isn't a comedian, but everything about the relationship, about the cheating with the sister and like the drama, all that, it sort of reminds me of the dissolution of Martha's marriage, which is, you know, not great to have happen to you, but it's a great story for a drama.
I'm a really big Hacks fan. I think it's really smart writing, especially the pilot. I was like, well, this is one of the best pilots I've ever seen.
Yeah, Jean Smart is, again, superior.
She's always been my favorite.
Everything she does is amazing. But yeah, I like Hacks. I like it.
Should we talk about your book? Are you so over talking about your book?
We can talk about my book. I mean, are you so over talking about my book?
I mean, no, but here's the thing that's funny or interesting or whatever. A lot of people that listen to our podcast have children. Caissie and I both have children. but the ages of our kids and the times in which we gave birth between the three of us are vastly different because Caissie has fully adult children.
Wow. True
There.
accomplishment.
That I
2
know.
boys.
Even like last night, I asked one of them to get me something from the grocery store, and I only asked one time and didn't
You raised them
remind
right.
didn't remind him, and he like went above and beyond my expectations. That's all there is to being a successful adult, right?
Correct.
I mean, yeah, kind
Nailed
of.
it.
And then, sweet, how old is Eli now? 23?
Eli is 25 and
25?
Lincoln's 22.
My God, my brain.
I know.
It's so crazy to me.
I know.
Okay, well, anyway, so 25 and 22. Birdie's 16 and Cricket is 11. And then your son is...
My son Guy is 7 and Fred is 9 months.
9
Oh my
months
goodness.
old.
I know, she's so little.
And Guy is the baby in question in your memoir book.
That's true. And he's so worried I'm going to write a book about Fred. He's like, is there going to be a Motherload too? Don't worry, you're the star. So I'm creating a monster, basically.
Well,
that's
things
hilarious.
it's about.
until he reads it and you're in
Exactly.
therapy with him and you just you wait, girl. You wait. I've had that experience personally. Still continue to have that experience. It's not great for me, but maybe it'll be different for you. But you really chronicle the year?
Yeah.
Total, like longer than a year?
Yeah, a year and a half.
Year and a half after giving birth to your son, and your relationship with your husband and what happened to you, which is like sort of, I mean, it's like very relatable to a lot of people, which is you were like very traumatized by the birth and unprepared for feelings that you had. And, Sarah brings up this thing in the book, which I think is so valuable, which is like that at the hospital or even your pediatrician or your OBGYN will give you that checklist of whether or not you have postpartum depression.
Right.
And it just like, I don't know, maybe somebody has all those things, but they're just not very specific and they're not encompassing enough. And like, so you really struggled even knowing that you were having postpartum anxiety and depression because you didn't feel like the things that they were saying, like suicidal. That was like the one thing we talked about in our book talk. Like, am I suicidal? No, I just want to disappear for the next 5 months.
Right.
Yeah, that list did not track for me. It's like, did you cry today? And I'm like, I cried every day since I was 13. Like, that's a normal roller coaster for me. Were you happy today? Well, like, yeah, I could get happy. I just also would get so sad that I couldn't crawl my way out of the hole,
Right.
Like, it didn't speak to me. It didn't ask things like, do you like spending time with your kid? Do you find joy in parenting? Do you hate your husband? Are you angry at the world? Like, those kinds of questions would have matched my experience more. But everything I read on that sheet just felt like some really sanitized, like, way for a doctor to be able to say, oh, well, we gave her the quiz and she was fine, so we let her out of the hospital and we don't have to report her to the insurance company or whatever. It was like a box checking method.
Right. Rather than a conversation.
Yeah.
That an expert was analyzing.
And I feel like you finally did have that conversation with your own doctor.
Yeah, but it took forever.
Forever.
I'm like, I don't know. I think a lot of women do this. Like, I gave such a good performance of being a happy mommy because I was so worried about what it meant that I wasn't and what people would take away from that and how people would judge me if I was honest with them. And also, like, I didn't even have the words. I hadn't processed it at all. I didn't understand why I wasn't connecting to motherhood the way that everyone had told me I would naturally. And I didn't even, in my head, I don't think I could conceive of a complex idea such as, this doesn't match what I've been told. I'm miserable. There's a way to be happy, but I have to first own up to the fact that I'm miserable and like bear myself and possibly be judged for that. And through that, I'll find a way to make parenting work for me and be able to find joy in it. Like that was light years beyond where I was at the time. All I could think of was I'm such a failure and I don't understand why I'm so bad at being a woman that I hate this. Like I feel so broken. I was just stuck in that. And I think that's part of depression too, is like being stuck in it and not thinking of a way out, you know?
Right. And I think like we're so poorly prepared, not even poorly prepared, not prepared at all. That the case when I had my kids, nobody really even said like this might happen to you and here's what to look out for. We've talked a lot about this on the podcast. Like people are sometimes afraid to name something because they think that saying something, acknowledging the truth or the possibility of something is making the chance of it happening more true. It just seems like human nature to want to sort of clam up about these things, but nobody said shit to me about the possibility of postpartum depression.
No one said to me even like something basic, like when your baby comes out, you may not love him at first.
Right.
Which, and then when it happened, I was like, well, I better not tell anyone because this means that I'm like horrible at this.
Right. Like I'm broken. Like I'm a broken person. I know. I wrote about it in my book, like this moment sitting in my car sobbing, apologizing to the infant in the back that I was so sorry that I was such a bad mom that I couldn't keep anything fucking straight. And I showed up on the wrong day for gym class and like the gym class was canceled that week or whatever the fuck it was. And just feeling like I can't do anything right. I can't fucking do this. Like you got the wrong one. I'm so sorry, kid. Like I'm sorry.
Worst feeling ever.
It's the worst feeling in the world and I didn't realize that wasn't like a normal reaction to not being at the, like to not knowing that the baby gym class was canceled that day.
Right.
That like being unable to drive my car because I was so riddled with like these feelings of abject failure and that my child should have a different parent.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Seems so normal.
Right. To me, in the moment, I did think I thought that was like I thought that I was just, that everybody else had it together and that I couldn't even fucking figure out when a gym class was moved,
Doesn't it shock you? Like, do you think that there's any dad out there who gets that upset? No.
I genuinely do not.
Like 0% chance that any
0%.
of them are emotionally complex enough to be like, oh no, I feel like I've failed at all. They're just like, moving on.
I think they do feel like they've failed if like something major happens. But
also though that failure like means something different to them. It doesn't mean like they've failed at their gender, I felt like, I'm a horrible, I'm not good at being a good girl. This like one thing I'd been trained to do my whole life, like be polite, make nice with people, have my appearance be a certain way. Like that is the one thing that as a woman you're supposed to be able to do. And I couldn't even fucking do that. It just felt like I had, failed my entire gender. I don't think men connect the way they parent with success as a man, obviously.
No, I mean, it's something that like even now people talk about, well, you hear the disconnect when people are like, oh, you're babysitting your kids to a guy when he's watching his own. And it's like, no, it's not babysitting, it's parenting.
It's because his child.
Right. He too is just the parent. It's not, he hasn't been hired for $15 per hour to watch this child. But I just felt so out of control. And I felt very much like, and this probably has to do with like my own family dynamic, or no, I don't want to just say family, but my own way that I deal with the outward world. But I just felt so out of control, and like so many people were trying to tell me what to do that I didn't even have a chance to like even look for my own instincts. Like I just felt like people were like, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way, whether it was like people in my family or like friends sort of invading and not understanding that it was like a sensitive moment and that we'd all been through a lot and we maybe just needed a second, like me and the baby. But I remember clearly the darkest moment for me. And I remember it being also like the first time that my son smiled, because he was colicky and he had been crying, I don't know, 72 hours nonstop
Oh my God, I don't know
like
how moms do that.
without sleeping for like more than a few
So
minutes
brutal.
at a time, it felt like. And
Also, so sad for him. Like, that's just
so
miserable all
sad. And I
around.
didn't know what I could do to make it any better. And I felt like I was trying everything. And it was really like one of the first times I'd been on my own with him. And I remember thinking to myself, I'll take him for a ride in the car, which was probably a terrible idea because I was so exhausted and so like emotionally wrung out. And I was buckling him into the baby seat and he was screaming harder than ever. And I was like, you know, I'm not much of a praying person. And I was like, God, if you want me to live, if you want me and this baby to survive, please, please, you have to like send me a sign because I don't know what is about to happen. I don't know if either of us can live through another second of that. And then like the baby just stopped crying and smiled. And I was like, you just saved our lives. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
did it make you a religious person? I feel like that might convert me.
it didn't, but it did make me believe in like vibes. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I was like, that
Damn.
baby just knew that like I was gonna disintegrate as a human being if
Well.
he didn't, you know.
This is why Cricket Silverstein came out, the angel unicorn that she did.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like she arrived and was like, oh, yeah, okay, I see it. This is the lay of the land. I'm just going to have to smile.
Oh,
My entire babyhood needs to be easy for this lady.
yeah.
She's not going to make it if I'm not
Yeah.
happy.
That was how I felt about Guy. Like, I was such a train wreck, but he was such a delight of a baby. Like, he never gave me 1 second of trouble in any way, like slept through the night, blah, 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 all the things. And God gives you what you can handle sometimes, you know? Like, it was
so
not
true.
going to, I couldn't have we couldn't have put any other negative conditions on my psyche in that moment. Like, if I had had a colicky baby,
It would
I don't know
have
that
been-
New York City would still be standing. It would have been bad. But like, I have so much empathy for women who have colicky babies. That sounds like an unbelievable torture
you can
for
just,
everyone.
It's torture because to your point that you were making earlier, Sarah, is like that it's supposed to be like the happiest, most magical time of your life. And like the new person that you brought home is literally screaming, I'm miserable,
Totally.
but doesn't have any words to tell you the way in which they're miserable and like what the solution is. And that's one of the times when I felt so out of control is because everyone in the world has advice to offer you. Give him this, hold him like this, wrap him like this, do that. And we tried everything and none of it did a dang thing. But then what happened is people, like those same people that had just, you know, had a hand in making you feel so out of control were also able to like peace out and be like, okay, well, good luck with that.
Totally.
Hope he goes
bye.
down, and then leave you alone with the still crying baby and like no solutions. And, you know, I would have given $1 million for anyone just to sit there and listen to the baby scream with me and like shake their head and be like, this sucks.
What fixed it in the end?
I think just growing a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know. Like, you know, like colic, I guess, is associated with like gassiness or.
And sometimes it's like acid reflux. You have to put them on like a little wedge, but then they're like the wedges are not safe anymore. But like,
right.
then
And then
sometimes
for
if
some
you have a
babies,
colicky
I
baby,
know
you're
like
just do it.
Yeah,
making very
usually must be
noisy
done.
noise in their ear seems to help, but that didn't
Like
help.
the shh.
Like a vacuum?
Yeah, exactly. Like white noise or whatever.
Like right
really
in their
close,
ear, really
right
loudly,
in their
right?
ear. But like, I don't know what it was with poor Eli. But one thing I will say, which is so weird, is that he always was like a very emotional baby. And we did notice that when, this is so weird, I sound like the most woo person. We would notice that he would whip up into this tumultuous frenzy, and then sometimes it would like rain, and then he would be immediately calm after. And we were like, oh, is he like a barometric pressure reader? Like, does he feel the atmosphere? Is the
Maybe he
atmosphere
had
upsetting him?
ear stuff. Because Birdie always
Maybe.
had that too. She
Yeah.
had like weird ear stuff. Like,
Yeah.
No, I think he's a mythological god.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Makes more sense, right?
this episode of Busy Phillips is Doing Her Best is brought to you by Wild Grain.
Ugh.
Wild Grain, guys, you know it. We love it.
I've been hitting the bread real hard lately.
Listen, get into that bread. The first Bake from Frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, pastas, cookies. I posted a picture of some cookies I made. They were Wild Grain. They were, full disclosure, Wild Grain. I love them so much.
Yeah.
Wild Grain's boxes, guys, fully customizable to your tastes, your dietary restrictions. In addition to their classic variety box, they recently launched a gluten-free box and a plant-based box that's 100% vegan baked goods. Amazing. Best of all, they just take that hassle right on out of baking. All of the items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less. No mess, no cleanup, just a house that smells like fresh baked bread, guys.
Oh, so good.
I love it. I love how delicious the breads are and the pastries and the cookies and the pastas. I love the pastas. And the pastas are the best because they cook so fast that if I'm forgetting to feed one of my children and they need food immediately, I know I can just make that pasta in like 4 minutes.
Right.
The best. Also, they're like, the quality is so good.
Yeah.
I love the sourdough.
I love a baguette. I had some biscuits this week. Oh,
Ooh.
all perfect.
Oh, I want to make the biscuits. That's what I want. That's what I want to eat right now. Guys, make sure you go check out Wild Grain and you can begin building your own box of artisanal breads, pastas, pastries, cookies. For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering you, our listeners, $30 off the first box plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/busy to start your subscription. You heard us. Free croissants in every box. And $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/busy. That's wildgrain.com/busy, or you can use our promo code BUSY at the checkout. Did you know that the liver is the second largest organ in your body, Caissie?
I just learned that.
I learned it when our new sponsors, Dose, sent us the dose to try out. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? That's crazy. It's responsible for over 500 functions in your body.
Exactly. That's why it needs to be so big.
I know, but like for some reason, people just don't take their liver into consideration. Over 30% of Americans have a sluggish liver, which is a problem that often goes undetected until the very last minute. Dose is on a mission to educate us all on why it's important to maintain your liver health. And they've created this product. It's amazing. It's like a very natural way to promote and maintain liver health. It is clinically supported, potent, and effective. And it's delicious.
It's so
That's the
delicious.
best part.
I would drink it straight up if it had no health benefits at all. But it does.
Yeah,
Lucky me.
It really does. It's got a science-backed formula that promotes liver function, aids in digestion, eases bloating, and even boosts energy levels. In a double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial, Dose for Your Liver lowered liver enzyme levels by 50% in over 86% of the participants.
It's amazing.
Which is wild. It's like a shot. You just take a little shot.
Yep.
One dose for your liver shot is equivalent to 17 shots of turmeric juice, which is crazy because you're supposed to have a lot of turmeric.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be really good for you. Dose is gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, and vegan.
Love it.
And if you stick with Dose, you're going to feel the incredible benefits over time. More energy, better digestion, reduced bloating, healthier liver enzyme function, reduction in brain fog, better sleep, all of the things. Guys, you got to try it out. Save 30% on your first month of subscription by going to dosedaily.co/best or entering BEST at the checkout. That's dosedaily.co/best for 30% off your first month subscription.
Wait, do your kids, now that they're grown up, do they talk to you about sex? I'm like fascinated by this because my like biggest embarrassment when I found out I was pregnant was that when I told my parents, it was going to be like admitting that I had had sex.
Oh my
That
God,
they knew
that
that
is
you had
really
sex.
funny.
But pathetic.
I felt
I
the
was like
same
30.
way.
That is
even
weird.
Even the second time telling my mom I was pregnant, like I felt weird because I felt like she was going to judge me for having sex when I had a baby at home.
Yeah.
You know
like
what
it's
I mean?
just like gross. It's like not conversations you want to have with your parents or whatever. But I'm really committed to my own children not having that relationship to sex and being really open about it.
We don't talk a lot about it. I think they're guys. And so if they were girls, maybe it would be a little different. I think I'd be like a little more, I'd press them a little more to talk about it. But they kind
I
of
don't think you would.
Are you
don't
totally
think I
not
would?
down with that?
No. Opposite. I did actually just had this conversation with a friend of mine who also has a teenage daughter who's a little bit older than Birdie. And the conversation that we had was really like, we fucking did it. We fixed the thing that we didn't have, which is that like, I know, the first time that I ever talked about sex or my fucking vagina, like I hid the fact that I got my period.
Yeah.
Even though I had an older sister, like I just didn't talk about it, was when I was accidentally pregnant at 15 and had to get an abortion. And my parents found out about it, which was like very traumatic and hard, really difficult. So, and not to mention the fact that I had sexual trauma when I was 14 and I was raped and I never told anyone. And I just like swallowed it for years and just like held it in. So like my parents didn't know that. My parents didn't know that until my book came out. But one thing that I just felt so strongly about as soon as I became a parent, I talked a lot about it in therapy, was that I had to figure out a way to talk to my kids really honestly and openly and just frankly and age appropriately about our bodies and sex and like what it is and all the things. And Birdie says there's this thing on TikTok about if you have a naked mom or not.
Oh, totally.
I know Caissie's not a naked mom. There's no fucking way. Like you're not even
wear shorts.
I know you don't. That's what I'm saying. Like you're not you don't wear a short. You're like not a. I am a naked mom.
I'm a naked mom.
Yeah, and I've always been a naked mom.
I'm lazy. I don't even own pajamas.
But I think that it makes it a little bit easier to have conversations with kids about your body and what makes you comfortable when you are a naked mom, only because like, I mean, I was never naked around Birdie's friends. Like, but just like I was always, home. I'm like, I never was I was never weird or shamed about my kids seeing me naked or whatever. And very early, I remember noticing that like some tampons had been like taken and were like being examined and then they were in the trash, like kind of buried. And so that like I was immediately, she was really little. And that was like, I explained that to her and she was like, what? But I didn't tell her the whole pregnancy sex part of it yet. Just that that's a part of being a woman when you grow up, like this is going to happen and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then like, I just was like always kind of like following her lead a little bit and like what she was curious about. And if I saw anything being Googled or like, like as she got a little bit older.
Oh, kids
like,
think they're so tricky, but looking back, I'm like, my mom knew everything. Like she definitely read my freaking diary and
I won't read their diaries though.
Jealous.
But like talking, my friend Michelle actually gave me this advice that like when it's time to talk, when they ask about sex, however old they are, the best way to do it is in the car while you're driving.
Okay.
Because you don't have to look at them. They don't have to look at you. And you can just like, and you're doing something and you just make it like very casual.
Right.
And then you just say, and if you have any questions, you can ask them. And if they do have a question that like, and they're trapped too. Right. And you're kind of trapped too. But if they have a question that either is like, you're like, oh my God, how do I even talk about this? Like, what's anal sex or whatever? You can be like, you know what, bud? I'm a little unclear on that. Let's look it up. I'll look it up later and I'll get back to you. Like anytime there's something that like, you're just like, I don't know how to do that. You can always say, that's a really great question. I'm going to research it and I'm going to get back to you. But then the gag is you have to get back to them.
because they always remember.
No, but you have to do it. Like you do have to
because
like,
you
take
have
the
to have
initiative.
integrity and
Yeah.
you have to, not leave them out in the cold.
But the truth is, like, my teenager is like, and I don't want to like, because this is, we don't like share things about our kids that they haven't explicitly told us that they can share. But without sharing anything, I will say that I have a kid that like really tells me a lot. And that at this point, at 16 and a half, like I
Huge.
trust implicitly. Like that she is knowledgeable and empowered in her own choices, and that like she would just not do anything that made her uncomfortable. She would not, you know what I mean? Like I just know who she is now, and like the things that she's told me and the things that she's chosen to share, and then the things that it's just good. It's great. It's great.
Yeah,
I
think
like feel
that's
like I
really
did
important. Yeah, because don't you feel like as someone, I wasn't raped when I was 14, but I had only negative sexual experiences until the relationship that I'm in now.
Right.
And
just like not, that's just so fucked.
it's
And
so fucked up.
And it's also not unusual.
No, not unusual at all. And also, I didn't properly understand what like real consent was.
Oh
And
God, I know.
I think even as like in my 20s, and I feel like if I had had a mom or any parent or parent figure that I could have had a more open dialogue about sex with, I would have just been able to define those things for myself earlier and get myself out of like hot water situations better.
I think the good news is like kids have, the world has a better understanding of consent
Right.
now.
Right.
Totally
And
different now.
kids definitely have a better understanding of consent, but that was definitely a thing that like in, early, when my kids were little, it was like we had those conversations about like your body is your body, someone else's body is their body. You do not touch somebody without asking them if you can touch them in any way, not in a nice way, not in a mean way. You don't hit
Absolutely.
someone, but you also like don't get to just, kiss someone because you're feeling strongly towards them, even if you're 5 years old. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not okay.
Yeah, it's got to start so young. And
Yeah.
also, I wish like I had sex ed in school. It didn't have anything like that in it. It was like no means no, but that was it. And I went to the OBGYN kind of early, like when I was still in high school. They didn't mention anything. My pediatrician never mentioned anything. Like there was no point where I would have learned those sexual politics on my own because I wasn't talking about sex with my parents. Sex ed was totally sterilized. It was like, no means
Yeah,
no, and
of
girls get
course.
their periods, whatever. And my own doctors didn't talk to me about any of it. So like, where are you supposed to learn? It's different now. Sure, they have like TikTok. But when you were
Yeah.
our age, where were you supposed to
But
learn
you-
that like rape was bad and that someone touched you the way you didn't like when you were 14, that you should tell someone or that you could tell someone?
Right.
I mean,
Well,
honestly, like, I think that, my generation, certainly, I feel like everybody just didn't have the language, as we're saying. Like, my mom
completely.
had sexual trauma in her past.
Yep.
I had already had sexual trauma. By the time in third grade, I got the talk from my mom, and she was like, biologically explained to me what sex was.
Right.
And what she felt it was for in one sentence, and then said, and if I ever hear about you doing it, I'll kill you. And that was that. That was like the sex talk that I got.
wow.
And so the person that I was most grateful to is that I was a cheerleader in high school. I was a freshman and had tried out and was going into being like a varsity cheerleader, being a sophomore. And a sophomore? And
sophomore.
I got my period like at practice, and it was really, really heavy. And a girl who was a senior, I won't say her name in case the circumstances of her life are very different now. I don't know. But at that time, she was like, oh, you should think about getting on the pill because it'll make your period not so heavy, because you shouldn't be like bleeding through your shorts like onto the ground in the ninth
Horrible.
grade. And I
been
was
there.
like, I could never, because even if I was just getting on birth control to regulate my period, that would have made my mom think about me in some type of way or suspect
Right.
that what I was doing, what I was really doing
What you
it
were
for.
really doing. Yeah, she would have thought
Exactly.
you were lying or something.
And so I was like, I could never, my mom would never allow it. She would never take me to the doctor for that. She would probably, in fact, kick me out of my house if I ever asked for it. And
So
this girl was
strict.
just like, oh, yeah, everybody's mom. A lot of moms are like that. You can go to this clinic. It's on Main Street. They don't tell your parents. So she took me to get birth control, which I then like kept in the glove box of my friend's car so that my mom would never find it. And it was really pretty innocent. It was really about making me more comfortable physically and not having like, but my mom was from the generation where she was just like, yeah, you bleed through your mattress every month. Like that's how it is. That's the cross that women bear.
I think I'm from that generation. I felt that way until recently. Like I didn't figure out until recently. I remember the commercials like when I was a kid where they poured out the blue liquid.
Yes.
And we're like, women bleed like this much on every pad. And it's like 2 ounces or whatever. And I was like, I think, wow, 2 ounces doesn't look like what I think it looks like. I remember
I got chunks. I got splashing.
Precisely. Like,
Yeah.
sorry. Yes. I got excited. Yeah. I mean, there's not a pair of my underwear or a set of nice sheets in my home that I haven't ruined,
Right.
That's just was my monthly until recently. I was like, actually like after pregnancies, because, you don't have your period the whole time, whatever. And then it comes back with a vengeance. And I remember being like, this like can't be normal. Like, is this really what I get to do for the next, like, I have like another decade until this ends. Like, this is my life. I'm just going to live like this. Like my cramps are so bad sometimes that I puke.
You guys, I ran into a girl that I am friends with on the street. And I was like, how are you? And she's like, ugh. And basically it was just like, she was PMSing and like broke up. Like she and her boyfriend broke up because she was PMSing, essentially. And she's like, I go fucking crazy. I know she's a therapist herself. She's like, I know I have PMDD. Like, I know these things. And she's like, and I just can't fucking get it together. And
I feel the same way.
Feel the same fucking way. And almost every woman I know is like, feels the same way. And when John and I were dating, I actually said to him that I felt like for the week before my period, we shouldn't talk.
It's when you may have every fight.
No, because I would be like, oh, and what's that? And what's that supposed to fucking mean? Like I would just go crazy.
Reactive. You're just so reactive.
And also, they don't get it. They don't get that like, it's real to us in the moment, but then as soon as we start bleeding, like day 1, day 2, I'm like, oh.
I love you again.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, reel that back in.
I was really such a jerk.
Yeah. My therapist told me that some people now are taking antidepressants 7 days before they start bleeding.
I tried it.
And
it did not work for me.
Like it didn't make a dent?
Pepsid?
No, I haven't. And that's my next one.
Me too. I think that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Like
and it's one of those things where it's kind of wild. In case anyone doesn't know, and if you're on TikTok, you probably do know, it's one of those things where for some people who have PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoria dysfunction,
just really bad. It's just bad PMS.
It's really bad, and I think probably more people have it than even realize it. For some people, they say taking Pepsid works when you're going through PMDD, and that's an antacid. I think it's like it's a histamine blocker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do Benadryl or any of the
No, it has to be. You can't. I don't think it
like
can do
Zyrtec.
Benadryl.
Zyrtec, not Benadryl. Okay, you're right. Yeah,
because Benadryl is a generation 1 antihistamine, but I think you need a generation 2, which would be like Zyrtec But I know that people say Pepsid is the one that is effective for some people who suffer from PMDD. So, like, talk to your doctor. We're not allowed to give you medical advice. TikTok isn't supposed to give you medical advice, I guess, but it seems to really.
Do they?
Yeah, it
can't
seems
stop
to
themselves.
really work for some people, and it's worth a try, if you're really suffering.
Well, you know me, when it comes to grocery shopping, meal planning, it just doesn't happen because it's just too hard for me in this city and lugging things. It doesn't interest me. It's like, it's just difficult. It's just hard. And there are so many things that are hard, and I don't need that to be one of them. But all of that changed thanks to Hungry Root. It is the easiest way to eat healthy, Hungry Root is like having your own personal shopper and nutritionist all wrapped into one. They take care of the weekly grocery shopping, recommending healthy groceries and meals tailored to your tastes, nutrition preferences, and health goals. And they make it very easy to eat high quality, nutritious food and achieve any diet or health goals. If it's anti-inflammatory or gut friendly or gluten-free or dairy-free or high protein or whatever it is. Whatever it is. They fill your cart with personalized recommendations that get smarter as they learn more about you and what you like or don't like. And all of Hungry Root's recipes can be made in just 15 minutes or less. With over 15,000 recipes shipped each week, there is something for every taste and nutrition preference. Hungry Root also has healthy groceries like smoothies and kid snacks and sweets, ready-to-eat meals and salad kits, and even supplements, guys. You can even get supplements. And there's never any high fructose corn syrup or artificial sweeteners or preservatives in any Hungry Roots food. They only source top quality meat and seafood free of hormones and antibiotics. Guys, we think you're going to love Hungry Root as much as we do. Take advantage of this exclusive offer for a limited time. Get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/busy and use code BUSY. That's hungryroot.com/busy, code BUSY, and get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/busy, code BUSY. What can we say about Thrive that we haven't already said? We're obsessed with it. Obsessed with Thrive Cosmetics. Obsessed.
If makeup could be your friend, that's how I feel about Thrive.
Thrive is our friend, Caissie. Makeup is our friend, and it is Thrive. Listen, whether you're into fresh face, full glam, somewhere in between, there is, you've got to get the Thrive Cosmetics Viral Tubing Mascara, Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. I'm obsessed. It's my favorite in the world. We love the Brilliant Eye Brightener, guys. It's like an eyeshadow highlighter stick. It brightens your eyes. It gives you an instant eye lift. It's a foolproof formula, and it's perfect. I love all of their lip sticks.
You love the Empower Matte Precision Lip Crayon.
Thank you. Thanks for knowing the name of it, Case, because yes, that is exactly what I love. But their beauty products are also certified vegan, cruelty-free, made with clean, skin-loving ingredients, high performance and trademarked formulas, and uncompromising standards. Guys, the best thing about Thrive Cosmetics is that they give back. And that's it right there built into the name. And we love them for it, and they love us. And Thrive Cosmetics is the best. But if you do one thing today, I'm not even kidding, just go get that mascara. You just need to, because you're gonna thank me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's also like for every product purchase, Thrive Cosmetics donates products and funds to help communities thrive, which is great. And it's the best mascara you're ever going to use in your life. Period.
You said it.
That's
you
it.
Said it.
That's it. Thrive Cosmetics is luxury beauty that gives back. Right now, you can get an exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/best. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/best for 20% off your first order. But all this stuff is so intertwined, and like it's only right now feels so fucking scary because it feels like, obviously it feels like it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
In terms of like the CDC websites being scrubbed of any information for women's health or reproductive rights being on the fucking chopping block in total. What the fuck did we say was going to happen? Oh no, but both sides are the same. Okay, motherfuckers. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's actually worse than we thought. But the thing is, like, okay, it is all really related. And my main takeaway from all of it is being a woman is extraordinarily hard in the best of circumstances. Like your body rebels against you for 7 days a month and makes your life a living hell, okay? Like giving birth, having a newborn, all of it is disproportionately emotionally and physically challenging on women, blah, blah, blah. Like, why can't men just be nicer and better in response to that? Like, why can't, like, men should be gentlemen. You know what? Like, they should open doors for us. Our lives are harder. It sucks. So,
Busy knows this. I have to say, like, I'm sitting here and I'm nodding along with you, but Busy knows that, like, my husband actually is, like, one of the rare, like, 0.001% guys who is like, when we brought that baby home after a hard time in the hospital, and I told you that he was colicky, when we brought that baby home, he said, first thing inside the door, you carried this baby for 9 months. For 9 months. You will not get up in the night to go get this baby. Like,
oh, he got it.
Yeah.
He gets it.
He was like,
An angel.
at least for 9 months, because that's how long you've been on duty with no break. Your body's been on duty. So, like, even when I was breastfeeding the baby, he would get up and, like, practically bring the baby and, like, put him on my boob while I was still out cold.
Okay, what's your mother-in-law like? Like, how did we get this? How did this guy
She's
get
amazing. She's like an old school feminist. And, like, I love the story of, like, one summer she went on strike and just stopped doing shit around the house.
That's it.
So that everyone could,
you gotta have a progressive lady in the home.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to have a lady. I mean, which is essentially what you did to your husband.
Yeah.
You were like, bye. This is not working for me.
Yeah.
And it really made him, like, shape up.
I can't say an ultimatum works across the board for everyone, but it really worked for me because I really meant it. You know,
I
But
think
Caissie,
it
you
does-
did it. You had it too.
I did the same thing, like, you know, not for the same reasons. Like, as a dad, my husband was the best, but, like, in our own relationship, like, sometimes we had conflicts that didn't seem to have any source, and I did the same thing.
you're just like, enough. This doesn't work for me,
Yeah.
and I actually mean it, and I'd rather be alone. It's like
I
I'll
was
live.
like, it needs to be different tomorrow. Something needs to be different tomorrow. Like, we're not working on it. We're not, like, putting an indefinite timeline. Like, something needs to be different tomorrow. That's the choice. Be different tomorrow or don't be here.
I mean, the good news is if people really want to, they can change.
Yeah. It's
The
the
bad
good
news is
and
it's
the bad
real
news.
rare that they want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also
Yeah.
the thing with an ultimatum, which is just the fact for anyone listening, is that you have to be willing to follow. You have to
Absolutely.
be willing to
Yes.
follow through, which
Yes.
That's the only time it works.
that's the only time it
Yes.
works.
If you really mean, and I meant it so hard. Like, I was like, I'm literally done. Like, I mean,
you, like, basically didn't see him kind of for, like, a month or two.
yeah.
Two.
I was like, you gotta go. Like, you're exhausting me. I don't have the energy or the brain space to keep dealing with this. I would rather be lonely than be this tired having to babysit your toddler ass. I can't do it. Like, we're done here. And I wasn't sad about it. I didn't cry. I wasn't on the fence. I was angry. And I just like leaned into the anger and was like, I'm just going to rely on this rage to, like, buoy me and make me not feel sad about this. Cause I knew the minute I felt sad, I'd be like, babe, I miss you.
Yeah.
And that was not a moment for weakness, you know?
Well, good for
But it
you
worked
for
out.
like, for being strong and meaning it. For me, the thing about an ultimatum, like, it worked for me too. So I'm with you. I recommend it. Like, if you really mean it and you're serious. But the thing that does sometimes bum me out is I'm like, oh, it worked, which means I could have done it, like, a year sooner or
Totally.
10 years
Well,
sooner.
You know my story. Yeah. Wish I had fucking pulled that card. I told Sarah this. I was like, I really wish that I had done that when the kids were really little, as opposed to, like, sucking it up and, like, swallowing it for so long, because by the time I did, I was like so done.
Filled
I couldn't.
with resentment.
It was too much. It was just too much to overcome.
You
and
couldn't even offer the choice.
I couldn't really. Like, I did
Right.
try a
Right.
bit, but, like, and he wanted to figure it out, and, like, and the changes that he was able to make were really substantial for the kids, and, like, ultimately way better for everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, like, my heart couldn't recover.
Oh, that's so hard.
I know. And it's a bummer. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
And, like, I do wish that I had done it when, Cricket was like a year.
But there is a point at which you can't recover. Like you have too much scar tissue to ever come back from it, no matter how much they change, no matter the promises they make you and how much they'll be good to those promises. Like your body doesn't forget. Your cells don't forget.
Yeah.
And you can do so much work, but you can't fix everything when it's gone on for a really long time. What can you do? You can't like convince yourself on a cellular level to trust someone and believe in them when for so long they failed you.
Right. It's really hard.
It really, I mean, it depends so much on the conditions of everything, I think, and so I guess that's something else that goes into like the consideration of offering an ultimatum is that like you have to decide, like you have to really mean it. Like we were saying, like you have to really mean like this changes or it ends. But also you have to decide, even if everything changed, if you would still be able to like be with that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if they changed everything, you might be too scarred, as you were saying, from the past to be able to live with that new person,
I mean, something I deal with is like I'm in all sorts of therapy still, whatever. And I kind of resent that because I'm like, I have do like somatic body healing or whatever.
You have no fucking idea. This is literally the conversation I've been having for the last week, which is like, as women, it just feels like to me, we are the ones that are tasked and must continue to heal ourselves, continue to like adjust our behavior, find ways to deal with and move through our rage and our whatever. And these motherfucking men are out there maybe changing some behaviors, but also just like making the same choices that they've always made, not really fucking thinking about it, not
Stop
really
making me have to heal.
Stop making me have to heal.
Please.
Fucking make a better choice. Like, make a different choice. It's just so fucking crazy to me.
I know.
And it's crazy because it's lazy. And also, like, but also, I don't want to live in a place of like rage and anger and like where I feel bad about the way that I respond to the same choices that men make over and over and over again.
Right.
It's fucking really impossible. And also, I want to say about sexual assault, because this is the thing. My therapist and I talked about this. I was just like, fuck this. I'm fucking 45 and I still have to like excavate this shit from when I was 14. That motherfucker has not thought about it one day since.
If you confronted him tomorrow, he would still think that he wasn't in the wrong.
100%.
There's no world
100%.
Or be like, I don't even remember.
No.
I don't. That's
100.
You could show him a video of it happening, and he would be like, "Yeah, it's not my fault." Like he would.
Yes.
He would be able to justify his own behavior somehow.
I'm sure,
and he would not feel sorry.
I know, and like that. Okay, which is, I mean, that to me is part of the piece of this inherent thing in our culture of being a woman that is just like, I don't know if I'll ever recover from how fucking unfair that is. I just don't know if I will. It is so fucking unfair. It has affected every fucking relationship I have ever had.
Of course.
And like continues to this day.
And it's like, sometimes you get the feeling as someone that also has like a traumatic sexual history. Sometimes I get the feeling that people have even nosed up to the line of being like, are you sure you're not being like overly dramatic about this? And I'm sort of like, okay, so multiply that times 1 billion. Every woman that's ever had this happen to her, because we know, like, we're all just sitting here, all being like, oh yeah, me too. Okay, yeah, nice to be having a chit chat with you. Multiply it times all the women that this has happened to, and so all of those women have probably had somebody in some way, shape, or form insinuate that, are you sure you're not being dramatic? Are you sure you're not like
diminish? Yeah.
Yeah, diminishing it. And then the handful of men who have stepped forward to say, actually, I had a sexual trauma. And like, it's the exact same thing. And not only is it the exact same thing, they're like, it's like a big news story, you know, like Brendan Fraser talked about his sexual trauma that he suffered at the hands of some scumbag in the entertainment industry. And like, people are so reverent to him. And so like, this is so brave of you to say this and share this. And it is, but it's fucking brave of all of us too. And no one ever asked that I know of. And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I love Brendan Fraser, but like, I hope that no one said to him, like, are you sure you're not being like overly dramatic about like a man touched you or whatever and it upset you? Like, that's just how it is, toots, you know? Like, I hope no one said that to him. He never said anyone said that to him.
Right.
And
I just we highly doubt it.
Right.
Because men are believed always.
Right. And so it's just like, yeah, whenever a man is courageous enough to say this happened, everybody almost takes like this reverent, like, this is so awful. How could this have happened? And you're so courageous for coming forward. And this must be the most difficult thing that you've ever shared publicly. And like, every woman is treated like, well, look at us all. We're all just like, yeah, you know, me too. And that's like the nice version. That's the supportive version that we're being to each other. Never mind people that are like, are you sure? Are you sure?
Remember
this
when
happened?
I did Mark Maron's podcast when my book was coming out? And I don't know if he says it on the podcast, but he definitely said it to me, which he was like, you know, I read your book. He really is such a great interviewer and like really does his research and, you know, whatever. But he was like, you know, I read your book and God, that the way you lost your virginity, I was just like reading it. I'm like, God, I don't know one girl who didn't lose their virginity kind of like that. And I was like,
correct.
Mark, that's
therein it lies the problem.
Fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. That's fucked.
Oh my
that's
God.
fucked. I think, though, I will say, I'm hopeful that like for our kids and that it has gotten better.
The world looks different
I think it does a little bit. And like, I do think so. I just do.
It's like a knock-on effect, hopefully. I hope that like my boys will be less likely to treat women the way that we were treated when we were that age. I hope that women that are in the generations behind us, I hope they are much quicker to recognize like danger that we didn't even see coming and not be in those situations. And when it inevitably happens to someone, I hope that these next generations are like more supportive of the person who then has to heal from some fucking thing that someone decided to do to them. And that also that they're more persistent and aggressive in getting justice for the person. Like that, you know, I hope all those things add up to people being better. And I'm hopeful, but then, you know, then you hear like a Brock Turner story or whatever the fuck, and you're like, oh, nothing's different.
Yeah, when you dabble in the like far right TikTok world.
Well, you're right. And then we've got the trad wives like coming out on their fucking farms.
Yeah.
And they're like, but I do think like all of it, I really do believe that like continuing to talk about all this shit is the only way that we continue to like heal and feel less alone in our experiences. And books like yours, which at moments I told you this, like it was really brutal for me to read because I felt I recognized myself so much in a lot of what you were describing. And even though it's been like, you know, 16 years since I had that baby that I had the postpartum, you know, anxiety and depression with, you know, it felt like reading it like brought me right back. But I feel like it's so valuable for all of us and for men too, to read it and to like try to take it in and really get it.
Yeah.
I feel like men get a bad rap and it's mostly justified, but I do kind of feel like culture doesn't really support them being better either. Because like, if I didn't even have the words to say, I have postpartum depression, I'm really bummed about this, I don't relate to my baby the way I thought I would, I don't like motherhood, it's not fun for me, then like, how's my husband supposed to know what's going on in my head? If I didn't know I was going to be wearing adult diapers after I gave birth, how's some dude who like makes laws going to know? Like we have to be more vocal because all those people who make decisions on our behalves, like they have to know.
All right, you have to go do an interview. What are you doing? You're going somewhere
I'm giving
else.
an art history lecture at Christie's.
Oh, cool.
That's
yeah, just-
exciting.
Art history nerd stuff.
What type of art?
It's their old masters sale right now. So like very old, like Renaissance paintings and stuff like that. So I'm talking
Very
about that
What's your
line.
favorite? Because you hold a degree. I mean, you worked in a gallery.
Yeah, I worked in like a very big international art gallery for my whole career until I wrote this book. And I studied art history in graduate school and stuff. So I don't know. I like call myself an art historian, but then I'm like, I have imposter syndrome. And I'm like, does it count? Like, will it ever count? Am I ever good enough to be like, I'm an art historian? I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Are.
Yeah,
Thanks for your support.
I think you are.
Okay.
Actually.
Like, I don't know. You don't get like a doctor. I guess if you get a PhD, you do, but take that right back. Yeah. My like specialty is modern and contemporary. So this is outside of my wheelhouse tonight, but I just like love talking about art. I could do it all day. So it'll be fun. It's not like I'm not nervous about this one,
Yeah. I'll go listen to you talk about art anytime.
Oh my
What
God,
were you
I
going to
love
ask?
art.
What's
I'm
her
not
What's
kidding.
her favorite piece of art, or who's her favorite artist?
No, I wasn't, but we can ask
You
that.
said what's your favorite, and then you.
I don't know what I was going to say. I don't
What's your
remember.
favorite
It's really
ice
hard
cream?
to have a favorite. Yeah, ice cream. That one's easier. It's hard to have like a favorite artist, but I'm really drawn to women's stories. And so looking at, in every period of art, there are women artists that like we've never heard of. And actually a friend of mine, this girl, Katie Hessel, who lives in London, wrote a book that tells the whole story of art history from like cave paintings to today, but only using women artists as examples. And like, there's no gap in art history if you only talk about the
Right.
women. Like it's called Great Women Artists, I think. There's a book and she has a podcast that's really cool. But I think if I had to pick one painter who's like alive that I love, it would be Cecily Brown, who's a woman and lives in New York. And I love her paintings. You would love them too. They're beautiful and like lush and painterly and sexy and
I think I follow her on Artsy.
probably perfect.
On Artsy?
Artsy is like an app where you can buy art. It's like galleries
Yes.
are all represented there.
Yeah.
It's smart. It's like kind of algorithmic, like Spotify. Like if you follow certain artists, it like recommends similar ones to you.
That's
so you
very
can kind
cool.
of, if you like are not in the art world enough that you like know all of them, it can kind of give you some shortcuts to finding stuff you like, which I think is very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Well, and how's the baby? How's the little baby?
Fred is a dream. It's so
She's just
different
like
when
a
you're
little
happy.
babe. Yeah.
Yeah. She's just sweet and giggly and like happy. They just choose joy and happiness constantly. It's amazing.
Aw.
I wish that like every man in government could tap into that inner child a little more easily and remind himself that humans are good and joyful
And
and that
nothing to be afraid of.
nothing to be afraid of, and they just want to like play and be happy and,
And love.
feel fulfilled and
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
From your lips
Mm-hmm.
to someone's ears.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for
Thanks for having me.
talking. And I mean, listen,
I brought you a shirt.
the Motherload
The book is The Motherload by Sarah Hoover.
episodes from the Brink of Motherhood.
Mhm.
It's intense. It's such a good read. It's like you really feel like you're on a wild ride.
That was important to me. I was like, this can't be boring.
It's not boring at all. It is
Not
a
boring at
wild
all.
ride.
I like those books where you get real sucked in,
Yeah.
you know?
It'll suck you in, guys. I'm telling you. It's really great. I really
Thank
love
you.
it. And I also think if you haven't had children, you should read it.
Yeah.
Totally.
So get the book, and then also maybe look out for Sarah giving an art history lecture near you. Who knows? You might get to
Anytime.
see both.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having
You're
me.
welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Ooh, what's my shirt? What does it say?
It says more drama than your first birth. I'll send you one, Caissie.
That's
send me
so
your
funny.
address.
Oh, that's really nice. It's so nice to meet you. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me. It was so nice to meet you. It's so nice of you guys. Thank you.
Euphoria. I was thinking it's like Valentine's Day is coming up someday, apparently. And you know what the best gift is for anyone in your life?
Sex.
Sure. But also just get them those bottles of Euphoria. Your girlfriends, your friends, yourself. The awaken arousal oil, the sex oil, the intimacy melts, the sex oil, the awaken arousal oil. Guys, get it all. Sensuality starts with Euphoria. People think they don't need any help, and maybe you don't need any help, but it could be better. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Even if you thought that you were having the best sex, why would you not try to make it better if you could?
Okay, here's the deal. Imagine the best orgasm you've ever had, and now imagine it could be better with products that were designed to naturally enhance sexual pleasure and give you access to bigger and better orgasms. That is what the Awaken Arousal Oil is meant to do. It's like a juicy warm-up that helps you get turned on, increases your pleasure, deepens your orgasms, increasing your connection with your partner. Awaken uses CBD and warming, sensation-inducing organic botanicals that enhance arousal and sensitivity and access to orgasm and overall pleasure and all of the things. It turns you on, guys. Turns you on. It's also proven to work. That's the truth.
92% people felt more aroused and 92% of people reached orgasm.
Come on, I'm into those odds.
That's an A.
That's an A. That is an A. The sex oil lubricates during sex. Intimacy melts help, experience deep internal waves of pleasure. Come on, get into it. It's a magic combination. We really love it. Euphoria products are made to help couples deepen their connection and fully experience their sexual pleasure. And also, it's great just on its own, guys, for yourself. If it's just you, let me tell you. I can tell you. I will tell you. It's great by yourself. So yes, you have our permission to try it. We fully endorse you to go ahead, treat yourself and your partner. Experience your juiciest and deepest sensual experience with a bottle of Euphoria. Euphoria is offering a special deal for you, our listener. Get 20% off your first order by visiting euphoria.wellness.com/best or use code BEST at the checkout. That's FORIA wellness.com/best for 20% off your first order. I recommend trying Awaken, the Awaken Arousal Oil, or the Pleasure Set that has all three of their best sellers. Guys, woo! You're going to thank me. And get it for a gift for someone. Hey.
I'm sorry your poor sinuses don't feel good.
No, I know it sucks. I feel like
that sucks. Well, Sarah was great.
I know. She's so nice. I like her a lot.
Oh, good. Where did you guys meet?
We were introduced by Michelle's stylist, Kate Young.
Nice.
Who is friends with Sarah. And honestly, she just was like, my friend Sarah wrote this book. It's coming out next year. She really wants to get it to you, and she really wants you to do a book talk for her. And I just was like, okay.
And you did it.
Of course. You know me.
I know you.
Have I ever
love
said no?
A book talk.
I mean, I just constantly saying yes to everything. So,
but always good books. You always talk to people about their good books. Speaking of, did you see our friend Paul Scheer's ad that he made? It's so good. You have to look it up. The reason I'm bringing this up in the context of book talks is because Busy did a great book talk with our friend Paul Scheer, who has a great book, Joyful Recollections of Sorrow, I believe it's called.
Trauma?
Trauma. Yes. Sorry. Joyful Recollections of Trauma. Sorry, Paul. And it's such a great book. It's again, talking about like a really heavy subject in like a very wildly entertaining and relatable way. He's so great. But he made this, I want to say it's like a Super Bowl ad, or it's going to air during the Super Bowl somewhere. I think.
They're all happening. It's really weird. And like,
Yeah.
why? I don't understand. Like, Super Bowl ads used to be things that were like
You
held
only saw it on the Super
until-
Bowl.
But now they're just like all the time.
Yeah.
Why is that?
But
Does
anyway,
anyone
he
know?
has this. He has this ad. For some reason, I think it's gonna air somewhere during the Super Bowl, but I don't know. I could be 100% wrong. I just saw the ad in passing on my feed right before I got on this call, and it's like a parody of all the other commercials, but it's about mental health, and it's so good. And his wife, June Diane Raphael, also makes like a little cameo in it, and it's really great. I hope you watch it. I want to hear what you think of it because it got me. It really got me.
Well, everything's getting me.
How are you holding up?
I mean, it's not great. I'm not going to lie.
No,
It's
I
just
know.
not great.
I know.
I'm
I was
really,
saying
Tulsi Gabbard was
today-
just,
Oh.
she was just, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Confirmed.
Approved. Confirmed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Not approved.
Yeah.
She was just confirmed. I can't believe RFK Jr. was confirmed. I actually can't fucking believe it. The Elon Musk stuff is so fucking insane.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to watch AOC's video last night because I feel like she was like trying to give actionable things, you know?
Right.
But like, can I be honest? Like the first half of it was just her being like, everybody take a breath. Everyone breathe. And I'm like,
I'm breathing.
Get it.
Yeah.
But also like, no. Like actually, no, I don't want to. Like, I'm not even about this fucking like, I don't know. In Ezra Klein's podcast last week, like there was this thing like, don't believe him. He's trying to like, the shock and awe, like just don't. It's like, okay.
Not believing him is
okay.
how we got here.
But exactly. I'm also just like, but then what the fuck do you want us to do?
Right.
Like, I'm just so, I don't understand why the fucking Democrats have so little fucking backbone that they can't just like fucking walk out, halt it, stop this shit. It's fucking madness. What are they doing? Literally. What are they doing?
I do not have any answers for you, Biz. I wish I knew. And I'm starting to see like little signs of life here and there of people being like, wait a minute. And I'm like, it's not strong enough. It's not fast enough. So I don't know because like, yeah, because like if not them, who? I don't know. I want all of you to keep breathing because I want us to all be here to get through this together, but I really don't have any answers. I was just saying that I saw like a first post by a high school classmate who was like, I voted for Donald Trump, but I did not vote for Elon Musk. And it's illegal for him to be president. And I was like, I should have just left it. I shouldn't have even engaged. But I was like, what's legal and not legal is out the window. Like that, what are you even saying? Like you were expecting them to behave legally? Like, honey.
I mean, I literally am like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It's what we were just talking about. It's what we were just talking about with respect to like even fatherhood. Nobody fucking believes a thing until the threat of it is real and it is happening to them.
Until that's what I was going to say. Until the threat of it is real, until it's happening directly to them.
Right. And so I don't know what the cure to that is. I don't know why other countries haven't fallen to that. I know other countries have in the past, and I know that other countries are currently in danger of it at all times. But yeah, I don't know what that is. I remember well, again, speaking of kids, I remember when my son was a toddler and I'd be like, don't touch that. It's sharp. And he never fucking believed me until his hand was bleeding. They're just like, he'd be the kid to stick his hand on the grill at Benihana. No matter how many times you told him it was hot, he just was like that. As a toddler, not as an adult, a full grown adult. I don't know how many times people are going to have to stick their hand in a fucking wheat thresher to figure out like, yes, it's what we told you. It's what everyone told you. I don't know why you would believe it wasn't for you. It wasn't going to happen to you. And now, now it's happening and like everybody has to suffer and it's suffering. Make no mistake about it. It's fucking suffering. So, and it's all a game to them. And all the shit that we went through with like Hillary's private server at home.
You've got to be
whatever.
fucking kidding me.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. This week I was trying to like get to the bottom of like, if Project 2025 is going to dissolve the FDIC, which is what insures our bank deposits, and your money could just poof disappear,
Right.
what should we do?
What should we do?
What should we do with that? And like nobody has a real answer, but the two people that I was like, please don't tell me to calm down, that I'm being ridiculous. The two people who even bothered to be like, the sky's not falling. I did rip them a new one, which was not productive, but it felt good in the moment. Cause I'm like, listen, we've all been too calm. We've all been too calm.
I mean, yeah. Yes. We've all been too fucking calm. And we continue to be calm. But also, like, at this, I'm not even kidding you. Like, at this point, I literally am like, what can I do? Me, personally. What the fuck can I do anymore? Because I tried to do all the fucking things. And, like, we were dismissed. We've been laughed at. And it's like, fuck around and find out. Like, no one I know is fucking around to find out.
I didn't fuck around.
I didn't fuck around. I just like,
I know.
And now we have this fucking lunatic. These people are fucking incel fucking lunatics. RFK Jr. literally had like a fucking brain worm. What are we doing? They are wanted, like the fucking thing to ban abortion nationwide has been proposed. Motherfuckers, I'm so fucking mad at everybody. I'm mad at the like 100 million people who decided not to show up because they didn't want a candidate that they didn't choose. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. And I'm terrified for like all of my friends. All of my fucking friends.
Yeah.
And family members who are gay or queer or trans and who are like genuinely concerned for their lives.
Right. And what has been hard for me is like those people that you were just talking about, like a lot of them are coming out and saying things now. And like, I get it. Everybody had a choice to make, but it is hard for me personally to hear it from people who are like, like we have to stand with our trans brothers and sisters. And I'm like, well, we did have an opportunity to stand and to speak. And that opportunity, was squandered by some people. So it's hard, right? Because that's like, I get it. Like people it was their right to say like, we didn't choose this candidate and I don't think this candidate is that much better than the other candidate. It was everyone's right to do that.
Sure. And people are just fucking selfish and only think about their own small little fucking lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like those are the folks that I'm personally having the hardest time hearing from now because I believe you. I believe you feel that way. I believe that your heart is in the right place, but You need
I
to
don't. I think
take-
their heart's in a fucking selfish ass place
gotta take
where
your
they
little
don't think
heart to
about
the voting
the
booth.
ramifications about other people's lives and your own responsibility as a person who lives in a country, who lives in the world, to make sure that those who are more vulnerable than you are protected and taken care of, whether or not you fucking understand it or agree with it or what. But that like everyone deserves a right to live
Right.
and to not have their fucking insurance or their Medicaid or Medicare or TRICARE restricted or taken away. It's fucking unconscionable. It's unconscionable. And like, I'm so angry. I'm so angry. And I'm so terrified. And then I like woke up and sweet Ross, shout out Ross.
We love you, Ross.
We love you, Ross. But Ross did freak me the fuck out because, I mean, Ross is in England and was the first person that had broke to me that there was a school shooting in fucking Sweden
Right.
this morning. And I very quickly was able to figure out where it was and that it was not where Birdie's in school. But I truly almost like vomited.
Yeah.
I mean, I called Birdie immediately. And of course, like, I mean, she was in class, so like went to voicemail. But like, and then I was Googling it. But I just was like, what fucking fresh hell?
Yeah.
I just also like continue to not understand and have never had any sort of understanding to what end for these motherfuckers, for these Republicans, for Elon Musk, for, you know, to what end? What is it that you want? What is
Right.
it that you want? You want
Well-
eternal life? We're all gonna fucking die.
Right. I think in many ways, like Elon Musk, who's had every advantage in the world, he's extreme because he wants to do something no one's ever done in the entire universe. And so I think he literally wants to rule the world. I think he would say that if you asked him. I think he would say, to what end? Is that like, I want to rule over an entire planet. No man has
Why?
ever done it.
Who like for what though?
I don't know.
Literally, I'm just asking
But
for
that's what-
fucking what? To do
to like,
what?
To feel something. To feel something because he's gotten to have every other thing. He has every other thing. And so he loves power for power's sake, I guess. I don't know. I think he would say that. I think he would say that if you asked him. Just
It
to
is
like
genuinely so fucking confusing to me. What's in it for these Republicans? What's in it for these people? What is in it for anyone? Like, it's like, I just am like,
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. I understand exactly, I think, how you feel. And yeah, I don't know. But I guess I was glad that someone from my high school was like, I didn't vote for this. And I'm like, you did, but I'm glad you know it now. Is it good to know that you're about to drive 100 miles an hour into a brick wall before it happens? I guess.
if you guys don't already follow and support the ACLU and the work that they do, it's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
ACLU nationwide.
Yeah.
They're like
And-
fighting the ban, this executive order, trying to coerce medical institutions to no longer provide gender affirming care. They'll oppose whatever unconstitutional laws pop up.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, because of the makeup of the Supreme Court, if things get like kicked to the Supreme Court, well, then Donald Trump's going to get whatever the fuck it is that he wants. No one knows why he wants any of this shit, by the way. I don't know why he wants any of this shit. He doesn't give a fuck.
Well, for him, he just wants to win. You know, he just wants to, again, like power for power's sake. He wants people to look up to him and admire him. You saw him talking to President Obama at Jimmy Carter's funeral, the way he was leaning in and the way he just was like he might as well have been saying like me, you know, just like me. You're one of the most powerful people in the world, just like me. Like, see, we can talk. You know, and just knowing like how Barack Obama, I hope actually feels about him in real life, and like looking at his body language and the look on his face versus like Donald Trump just being like, approve of me, accept me, like me. Like that's all he wants. And like his ideas of how to be liked and accepted and approved of are fucked up. Like, in my opinion, because they center around belittling other people, demeaning other people. Like he's like, you know, he's like the bully from the Back to the Future movie. You know, he's still in that mindset. And it works for so many people. So many people are like, yeah, he's a little rough around the edges, but like I generally agree with his plans for misery for the country. Or people are like, you know, he doesn't really mean it. He that's just the way he is. Or other people are like, yeah, great. Call someone fat, call someone ugly, make fun of them for being disabled, make fun of them for being a woman, assault them, rip their family apart. Like, I love it. I love it. And it's like, you know, it's like fucking Romans at the Colosseum crowding around to watch someone be torn apart by a lion. Like they're just into it. And I don't know what to say about that. I feel like I'm from a different planet. And so like when people say that we live in two countries, I think that we do. We definitely live in two distinct countries, probably more than two. It's probably more like 3 to 100 different countries that we live in because of like just what makes people tick and what they want to see from a leader and what their priorities are. But this is like, I can't even say if it's worse than what I expected or exactly what I expected. It's at least exactly what I expected, but possibly worse.
I mean, I think for me, it's like there's always a difference between sort of like knowing and then having it happen and seeing it in black and white, you know?
Yeah.
Because I felt the same about the Dobbs decision.
Yeah.
Like when we literally knew.
Right.
What was happening,
right.
You know?
Right.
But
I think what's different here for me is that like with the Dobbs decision, there was like immediate response to it and like, we're going to fight back on this. And here, and I don't want to freak people out. I'm just being honest about how I feel. Like, I don't know that our democracy survives this, at least in the near term future. I don't know how we fight back on any of this without being retaliated against, because I think that's something that they're openly like just, you know.
I know.
Openly just retaliating, and now they have the capability to just like wipe out our existence like digitally. Like it could be like my social security number never existed, you know, and who am I in this world? So I don't know. Am I saying that's going to happen? No, I don't know. Am I saying that's within the realm of possibility? Closer than we were a couple months ago to having that happen. So I don't know. is like my small life savings going to disappear into the ether? Maybe. I don't fucking know. Will I lose my house when that happens? Maybe. I don't fucking know. You know? And the thing that I hate the most about it is that one of the remedies to like feeling this way, one of the things where you can hold on to your power is to take your feelings and do things on a micro level, help people around you. And there are certainly plenty of opportunities to feed the hungry, clothe and house the poor, all of these things. Just there are plenty of opportunities. But I think that the tragedy, the shame of it for me is that everything that we're living through is so fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
And people are so mired in preserving themselves from minute to minute at this moment that there is no energy, there is no will to go out and just help someone else, to, you know, just give them a little boost that they need. And so that's a real fucking tragedy. And, you know, and never has it felt more true that like the cruelty is the point.
I know.
But I don't fucking know, man. People have always been cruel. You know? It's
I guess.
I don't know. I don't know what the point of cruelty is. I don't know what people get out of it, but I know people must feel like they do because they keep doing it. So I don't know. And I'm sorry. I know, you know, I just know that everyone listening, and I know that you and for myself, I feel these things so deeply.
It's so hard.
I'm really not taking it this time. Like, whatever is happening, here's what I'm not letting anyone tell me that I'm being crazy this time. The gaslight is out of gas.
No, it's out of gas, dude. Yeah, 100%.
So
literally, no.
Don't even bother with that.
Do not.
But yeah, you know, and I think I talked about this last week. If not, and if I did, I think it bears repeating, is that I just recently, like, through all the fire stuff in Los Angeles and all of this stuff that's like happening, and it applies to what we were saying earlier when Sarah was like, why can't men just do things that make our lives easier?
Mm-hmm.
Here's one thing I will say. I just had this epiphany that, like, if someone in your life is asking you if you've done something or taken some precaution or whatever, have you gotten a passport? Have you looked into like what's going on with your bank account? Have you just whatever they're asking you, it's because they care about you, and it's not the time to tell them that they're being ridiculous, that there's no problem with any of it. Did you download your Social Security information? I don't know. People are saying to do that. Will it do any good? I don't know. Does it hurt
What does that mean? I don't even know what that
just
means.
to like download your Social Security like history, like how much you've paid into Social Security, and that like so that you have a record of your number in case you can't find your card or something. I don't know. Do I know that that will help? I don't know that that will help. Do I know that it won't hurt if your aunt is asking you to do that? Like, if you can just download a fucking form and print it out and it brings your aunt or your mom or your sister or your spouse some peace, just fucking do it. Just do it. Get your passport. Fill your car tank up with gas. If you can afford it, make sure your car is always gassed up. I don't know. If someone tells you to pack a go bag because they're worried about the conditions in your area, just make a go bag. It reminds me of like masking in the beginning of COVID, when people were like, what, they wouldn't wear a mask And like, they tried to say that it was because they felt like they were being controlled and told what to do. I think the real answer is that, like all of us, they felt a little weird and stupid wearing a mask. And everybody else just kept doing it and got used to wearing a mask because it was like, you know, possibly the right thing to do from what people were saying. Was it definitely the right thing to do? At the time, we didn't know. We just didn't know. People had theories. But did it hurt anything to wear a mask? No,
No.
it didn't. So just fucking wear it if it makes someone feel better,
Right.
even if it
Like-
turns out in the end that it was meaningless. Okay. Even if it was meaningless, it was meaningful in that at the time it alleviated someone's anxiety. And I'm not saying like, let's be in denial about unchecked anxieties. I'm just saying that's the epiphany I had. If someone asks me, you know, do I have a go bag? Yes, I have a go bag because someone in my family feels like that's important. And so even if all 4 people in my family don't think it's important, we're not going to not do it because one person doesn't think it's that big of a deal. You know? Anyway,
Yes.
that's the end of my rant on that. If someone asks you to look into something or whatever, it's just not the time to like tell them what an idiot they are for worrying. And I know, by the way, I know that everyone listening, you're probably the ones asking someone to like look into something or prepare for something or just be ready. And you're probably the ones getting eye rolls from people that you love. But feel free to, feel free to tell them to listen to this part of the podcast or whatever, or relay my rant to them, or I'll make a cameo for them, telling them that now is not the time to roll your eyes at anyone that's trying to get you to act out of concern for you because they love you. It's not the time to belittle anyone's concerns. That's it. That's my whole rant. Busy's just done.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I am kind of. I'm sort of just like, ugh. I'm like just so, ugh. Also, my sinuses hurt.
I know. Sorry. You've been through so much. And again, your sinuses should be cutting you some slack at this point. You've had surgery on them, for goodness sakes. All right. Well, what are you doing your best at this week?
What am I doing my best at this week? I don't know. Oh, I finished my pilot. Like for real, turned it in.
Okay, that's what you said last week, but
Well, you turned it into the studio and then you have to do their notes and then you turn it into the network.
all right. Okay.
So
That's
it's 2
good.
steps. Two steps.
2 steps. You got the second step done. That's great. Congratulations.
Well, I do think it's much easier to do it. What am I doing my best at this week? Okay, fine. That doesn't count, I guess.
It does.
Whatever,
Who am
Caissie.
I to say it doesn't count?
Truly. Listen. I don't know. What am I doing my best at this week? I don't know. I've been like trying to meditate.
That's good. Maybe the fact
Yeah.
that you're just doing anything at all
Anything.
is the
Yeah.
best
Well, that's what I think.
that anyone can expect.
Yeah, I'm trying to meditate. I was really fucking upset about men's behaviors, their unchanging behaviors. And then, you know what? I did a little meditation. And then I was like, well, the only thing I can do is just have compassion for them. Like they're, sad little puppies that can never learn because there's just something wrong with them from birth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be mad at a sad little puppy
Right.
who,
Right.
from birth couldn't learn a new thing, a new trick. I wouldn't be mad at that puppy.
That's good. Meditating. It's going to come in handy.
We gotta just try to keep it. Yeah.
A
I was
good
feeling bad. And then
meditation.
last night when the sinuses hit, I'm real fucking pissed about the sinuses.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
What are you doing your best at?
I am doing my best I'm just trying to keep it together. I got a new vacuum, not a new vacuum. I got a used, refurbished vacuum because our vacuum, we're like vacuum killers in this house. But I'm also trying not to buy anything
Mm-hmm.
at this moment in time. So that seemed like a nice compromise. It's a great vacuum. I think I immediately figured out why it needed to be refurbished, and it's already broken after one day of that. So now I have to bring it to get it repaired, but it's fine. It's like, it still kind of works. It half works. And I was very excited to try it out yesterday. And then just like Matt is getting surgery tomorrow. I'm trying.
Oh my God, it's happening.
It's happening. By the time you hear this, he'll already be in surgery because we have to be there at fucking 5 a.m.
No.
When your husband is getting surgery, you should get to choose what time the surgery is. I'm just gonna say.
I feel like sometimes you do.
Well, we did not get to choose, but also like, I mean, listen, this is like a workman's comp situation. Busy. He had to shave his own stomach this morning. That was part of his pre-surgical instructions.
I'm sorry.
Come with your.
It's not acceptable.
He had to shave his own stomach.
I don't mean to laugh, but that is totally
so
bizarre.
like medical care is very bare bones compared to the last time I had abdominal surgery. I was not required to shave any of my own hairs off. But anyway, yeah, so we have to be there at 5 a.m. And then, just trying to collect all the soft foods and clear liquids that he'll need to be eating and make sure everything's ready to have a patient at home,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, and then getting ready to return to New York for QVC stuff, and those calls and stuff are happening. And so, not a lot. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's a lot. Just, casual little calls every now and then. Oh, and I joined that coaching, like that creativity coaching, Capes coaching, because my friend Kristen got me a gift certificate as a gift. And so I joined that. So I've been going through the little like creativity coaching lessons, and we'll see how that goes. It's interesting.
How's it going? Is it good?
Yeah, listen, it's nice to just have videos of someone like speaking to you gently and nicely and not like you're a fool, and the videos aren't terrifying. So that there's like an in-person one that you can do, not in person, but like a live one that you can do. But I'm just doing the video modules one because of QVC, like would have disrupted my time at Capes Coaching School. So I'm just doing the one that you can do at your own pace.
I love it.
It's all good, just trying things, So that's what I'm doing.
Kind of
my
with
best
you.
at.
I'm also always just trying things.
Yeah, that's all we can really do, right? I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I feel very wiped.
Yeah, I get that. Well, resting is important too. Resting
Yeah.
Resting is important too. It's hard, and having fun is important too. And it's really hard. That's one thing. I'll leave you. This is my final thought for the week, is that it's really hard to be on the same page as everyone. So like, just for example, I watched the Reese Witherspoon, Will Ferrell movie, You Are Cordially Invited. And Vinnie
how was
Thomas.
that?
I laughed my ass off. Matt laughed his ass off at it. I've seen so many reviews of people being like, this is terrible. It's not funny at all. And the only thing I can think of is that, like, well, first of all, it's not for you. Like, not everything is for everyone. Like, I don't laugh at every comedy. And sometimes even like my closest friends, we don't think the same movies are funny.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's
So
that.
true.
But I think more it's maybe that like people think they're in the mood to laugh, but they're really not in a laughing mood. They're not in that place. And so they think like, oh, I'll watch a comedy. That'll be like a good remedy to how I'm feeling right now. But if you're not in a place to laugh about something, that's okay. But sometimes like the effect is that you're going to be annoyed by the thing that you tried to laugh at, that it didn't make you laugh. And it's like, I don't know. I think it's pretty standard comedy material. Like if you've ever seen a Will Ferrell movie and liked it, it seems weird that you wouldn't like this one. I don't know. But anyway, I was just going to say that you're wiped right now. You know what I mean? And like, so maybe you need to rest. And so anyone saying like, well, you know what helps me is like getting out and like taking a jog around the reservoir or whatever, like maybe that's not what you need right now. So everybody's needing different things right now, and it'll be weird because I think a lot of us aren't on the same page. So I'm seeing a lot of people chastising people for like enjoying food or like watching a funny movie or going to a concert or whatever. And like, those are all things that we're gonna need to do when we can, if we can, just to like fucking have the will to live and to like try to get through this. Like, art has always been important. Enjoyment has always been important. Like, even through the Holocaust, like, people still created art and music. People still made music and did comedy to buoy each other's spirits, you know, to make it possible to survive. And so, you know, we're not always all going to be on the same page about what's appropriate at any moment. So I guess, I don't know. What was my final thought? I guess just like don't yuck someone's yum, I guess. People are doing what they got to do. I don't know. But if you need to rest, you should rest. And don't let anyone tell you different.
I know.
Your sinuses are tired.
My sinuses are tired. I did say I was going to go to this concert tonight. So I kind of have to go.
Do you have to, or could you cancel?
I don't know. I feel bad. It's like a date.
Oh. Well,
I don't know. I really don't know. And I also like don't really care because I don't really want to go on a date, but like I'm just trying, you know?
I hear you. But if you don't want to go on the date, then is it going to be a good date? Just think about it.
I just feel like, I don't know. What am I doing?
Maybe call the person that you're having a date with and ask if they want to meet for chicken soup on the corner because your sinuses hurt. And you don't need to take your sinuses all the way to Brooklyn to rock out.
I really fucking don't.
You know, maybe offer a soft alternative to outright canceling, but whatever. You should do what you feel is right. But I'm just saying, if you feel miserable and it's far away and it's going to be loud and it's like where you're trying to make a good impression potentially on somebody.
I mean, I don't know if I care about that. I'm not kidding. I really don't care at all. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Well, I hope whatever you decide that you feel good about that decision. Guys, we love you.
We're sorry.
No, I think, listen, nobody's ever going to be mad at us for being honest about how we're feeling. I don't think.
We didn't even talk about fucking Bianca Sensori.
We didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about...
Stupid.
But in a way we did, because we talked about men and their behaviors and how weird it all is. And yeah, we didn't talk about them Grammys.
I loved the Grammys, though, I have to say. I really love them.
Watch it.
Jen and I watched them, and I just loved it. I thought it was great.
I'm glad.
Really queer, super queer, celebrating like all these queer artists.
That's great.
And Kendrick Lamar.
Yes, with an
our
armful.
short king.
An armful. I did watch certain clips, as I always do. I watched that Benson Boone. He was very entertaining.
I know. With backflipping? I don't know.
Listen, I'll ask you this. If you could do a backflip,
Would I?
why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't you?
I'm going to probably learn. I'm going to work on
It's
it.
never too late. It's you know what? I did gymnastics for years and I never was a really reliable backflipper. I'm going to be honest with you. So I couldn't. I don't think I could. I don't think I could do it now, nor do I think it was ever in the cards for me to be a reliable backflipper.
I feel that. I feel that deeply.
Well,
Well,
all right.
We should go. I got to go, actually. I
Yeah.
really do have to go. Okay.
We'll talk to you very soon. We love you.
Bye, you guys.
and
We love you.
Hang in there, guys. We love you.
Hang in there.
Bye.
Good luck, Matt, for the surgery. He's going to be great.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh, no.